Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chapter 4, Estimating and Pricing. One of the most important things you must do as a green industry pro to keep your business afloat. And you may not go the route of being an entrepreneur because being an entrepreneur is probably one of the most difficult but most rewarding jobs that there is. If you are entitled, you're never going to be an entrepreneur. Entitlement and entrepreneurship are the total opposite. So if you feel like that you need to have a job that things are kind of given to you, like the number of hours worked per week, your salary, everything is set based, and you want days off, and you want to have this hunky-dory life, then entrepreneurship is not for you. But you may be hired by a green industry company to do their estimating and pricing. So it's very, very important to learn how to correctly estimate and quote jobs, whether it be a landscape installation, a landscape management job, a lawn care fertility app program, or whatever it is that you're bidding. You need to know how to do it. So watch this lecture, and then I've got bidding, estimating, and project pricing as another lecture that I'd like for you to watch this week, because pricing jobs is probably the most important thing that you will do in your green industry career. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to have to do is evaluate the project. Size doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter how big the job is or how small the job is. You need to take a look at it in detail. Make sure you've got the correct equipment to do it, that you've got the right personnel, and that you've got the time to do it. Now, that kind of coincides with your work schedule and current commitments. You know, if you're booked to the hilt, meaning that you've got every single work day scheduled out for the next 6 months, then you may or may not need to be bidding on work. If you listen to Stanley the Dirt Monkey Genadek, he's one of my best friends. I love the guy to death. We always talk about pricing jobs in the fall for the next spring. You go ahead and estimate in the fall, and that'll carry you through the winter, through the spring, into the summer, and back around to the fall when you start bidding a lot of these jobs. Now, you bid these jobs in the fall because everybody's kind of slowing down. A lot of other green industry pros are stepping away. They're wanting to take time off. They're wanting to chill out. And it's hard to estimate in the spring because everybody's coming out of the winter hungry. And so they're doing these things super cheap just to get the job. You'll get a better price for your work in the fall than you ever will in the springtime. So, kind of plan for that. That kind of goes along with, scheduling and, preparing for the next year when you would start doing that. So, but if your work schedule's booked and you have too many current commitments, you may want to slow down on bidding these jobs. What are your procedures? You should have a procedure when the phone rings on meeting the client, doing the quote, getting the quote to them, and moving forward after they've signed the estimate or they've told you to go ahead. Then it's time to go to contract management. But examine the specifications and contract carefully. Have an attorney write this for you. I highly, highly recommend having an attorney on retainer if you want to run your own business. That way they can kind of look at these contracts that you're writing. You may be working for a commercial builder, though, and they're giving you the contract and they're giving you the set of specifications. And that's going to take some time to read it. So make sure you understand what the specs are and what the contract entails, especially when it comes to payment application. You may have to get paid. You may have to get paid when you least expect it. You may think you're going to get paid immediately, but if you didn't read the contract, the bid documents that come out pretty early, it may say that payment is going to be rendered 30 to 60 or even 90 days after completion of the project. So you need to check on it and make sure it's doing exactly what it is that you want it to do. Does the project fit to the company's image? If you're a design build company, you may not want to do a huge mowing project. Does it kind of mess up that image that you've worked so hard to build. But only you can decide that, nobody else. Where's the location of the work? Is it too far to drive? And then payment, how, when, and who. It goes back to the contract documents early on in the bid documents. When are you going to get paid? Who's going to pay you, and how? Direct deposit? Is it check? It ain't going to be cash. You're going to have to submit 1099s to them. You're going to have to submit certificates of insurance, workers' comp, general liability, copies of your bid bond, copies of your surety bond, the whole 9 yards. So take a look at these projects before you want to bid on them. Are there potential problems possibly preventing the completion of the contract? Well, you may have another big contract coming up. Is it going to interfere with that? Only you will decide that. Will design and installation factors affect maintenance, efficiency, or the price? You got to be able to read a set of plans. That's the only way you're going to figure that out. And was the irrigation system properly installed, and is it functional? Maybe you're taking over a landscape management property, and you're going to be responsible for the irrigation job. Well, does it run correctly? Well, the only way you're going to go and do that is if you audit the irrigation system. You're going to have to go and turn each zone on, count the heads, count the rotors, count the pop-ups, see if there's drip irrigation involved. You're going to have to run through it. And you know what? That's going to be time and money out of your pocket because they're not going to pay you to do that. You may need to do this at no charge, so you'll be able to include it in your price. So when evaluating the site, walk the property, get out, take pictures, measure with tape measures, measure with the Mosure, measure with one of the rolling wheels. Don't give anybody a windshield estimate. That means going by the property, driving, and being like, yeah, I think I can do this for X amount of dollars. Yeah, we're going to do it for that. No, you get out and measure it. I don't care how small the property is. I get out and I take pictures, I take videos, and I go through the whole thing. And I may need to throw up a YouTube video that I've done here recently for one of our customers. I've known the customers. We've walked their commercial property and we've watched their residential home. I meet with the client, get there early, walk the property, see what's going on, knock on the door, then walk around with them, talk about the situation, and then I'll go back and video it. So I was with the client the other day, an hour and 15 minutes, just so that we could get the job. We got their commercial property. Now they're wanting us to bid on their residential site. And so I'm putting in a lot of time and effort because it's going to be, a $20,000 contract for the entire year. You want to do that. And it don't take long, guys, to realize, hey, what if I had $120,000 contracts a year? Now we're talking, 6-figure, 7-figure gross income. That's what you got to strive for. That's why it's important to correctly estimate these jobs. Is the landscape destined to fail? No matter what it is that you do. Is it the wrong plants planted in the wrong spot? You've got to do your site inventory and analysis to figure that out. So checklist, do a soil sample. Look for surface and subsurface drainage. Can you get your equipment on site? Is there only a 36-inch gate and all you've got is 48-inch mowers? Do you have access to water? Do you have outdoor spigots? If they're wanting you to plant some plants, you may just want to throw down a temporary drip irrigation system. Who controls the irrigation system? If there is one there, it needs to be you. And then always, always take plenty of photos and take videos. Do the whole thing. You can do it with your smartphone. Records. You got to have daily reports from your crews, your software programs. That's going to help you bid correctly the next jobs. You should know what it is that your crews can do and what they can't do. You need to know how long it takes you to pour 100 feet of sidewalk. You need to know how long it takes your crews to do 100 square foot of brick pavers. The only way you're going to get that is through your experience and your records, your job site records. So developing the estimate. What is the work to be accomplished? What is the work to be accomplished? What is involved? And what is your time and materials? You need to be able to take that set of plans or do that site visit and answer these 3 questions right away. If you're confused about it, then walk away. You can go broke staying at home just as well as going out and working your tail off. Why would you want to go and work hard and still lose money and stay home and lose money and be relaxed in the air conditioning, watching TV? But still, make sure you've got the right equipment to do it. What is it that the client's asking you to do? How long is it going to take you to do it? And what materials do you need to purchase to actually do it? You got to have some type of landscape program, whether it's QuickBooks. We use LMN software and QuickBooks. They can schedule us. LMN helps us schedule our jobs. Do a maintenance takeoff. That should be, hey, measure your square footage of turf, measure your pine straw, measure your mulch, measure your annual beds, see how long it's going to take you to prune. Usually when it comes to pruning, I'm going to have a 3-person crew, and they're going to be there minimum half a day. So I've got 3 people at 4 hours. I'm bidding all pruning jobs in 12-hour blocks. Now I may send 2 and they may be there a couple hours after lunch or whatever, but I'm going to estimate my pruning in 12-hour blocks, half a day, 3-person crew. What's the seasonal frequency? Do they want pine straw done twice a year? Do they want annual beds done 3 times a year? Do they want 32 or 36 mowings? What about leaf removal? What about pruning? You got to know your plant materials. How often are you going to have to send that crew there to prune? You know, if they've got all hollies, you'll be able to go probably twice a year and knock it out. Estimating worksheet. This worksheet illustrates the information necessary for developing the estimate bid or budgets. Table 4.1 in your text. Task, takeoff, specifications, or the maintenance program. The frequency, time of year. Like I said, we either mow 32 times or 36 years, or 36 times a year. If we're mowing 32, we're going to have to add a couple extra leaf removal visits in there. What's the area? Is it square feet or is it units? Production rate, time per unit. Production hours. Remember, I said 3 personnel times 4 hours. We've got 12. What's the labor rate for pruning? Well, pruning, you need to get at least 50 an hour. At least. I would push it on up there around $80 an hour. Material. How much are you going to need? Plants, mulch, whole 9 yards. What's your equipment rate and your equipment cost? So that's a very good chart to help you determine the cost of your jobs. Determine the area, estimating your time. Again, your current job records are going to help you figure that out. What are your production rates for your employees? You need to develop them. You should be able to understand that a mower 61-inch cut is going to cut how many acres per day per hour. Same thing with a 48-inch walk behind, a 48-inch rider. You need to be able to calculate that. It's all available from your dealers where you purchase your equipment. Make adjustments to the production rates. Either they're going to go up or down, probably down a little bit, with travel time back and forth, breaks that your employees want to take. Your travel time, on-site staffing, that's a good way to handle large maintenance projects, is have your employees just meet there at the facility. We used to take care of an 88-acre retirement community. We didn't have a shop there, but it would have been nice to have had that. We had to haul everything there to mow it, prune it, mulch it, everything. We had a lot of equipment to take care of that. How do you manage your service routes? Well, first, you got to have them in order. They've got to be scheduled. LMN software, perfect for that. What are your production budgets? You should take that small 2-man mowing crew and figure out how much grass they can cut per day, per hour, per week. And when you figure those out, you'll be able to enter those into LMN software and make it happen. Here's a maintenance takeoff. Print this off, help you to do the actual job sites. Take this to the job site. You got lawn areas, planted ground cover, your shrubs. trees, public or patio area, sweeping. You got to blow off these areas when you cut the grass. Parking areas, trash, debris removal. That's a big thing on commercial property. They want you to get all that stuff up. Maintenance tasks, production rates. Again, table point 4.3 in your book estimates and averages the compiled from several sources. Your TurfMet 21-inch self-propelled mower, average minutes per 1,000 square feet. So 1,000 square feet was 6 with the 21-inch mower. 36 is 4. 48-inch rider, 45 minutes per acre. 72-inch rider, 36 minutes per acre. I'm giving you the information and your textbook. This is good information when composing your landscape management plan for a client. So print these out, photocopy them out of your book. This will help you tremendously. Weeding by hand, 15 times a year. You can do 60 minutes. You can do an hour, 1,000 square feet. Spot spraying 3 times a year, 15 minutes per 1,000 square feet. Pre-emergent herbicide like Snapshot, putting those in the shrub beds, helping prevent those weeds from germinating. So I really like this production rate schedule. And you would print it out and tweak it to your needs. Average square foot mowed per hour using mowers of various deck widths, 3 mowing speeds. Again, average speed, 5 miles an hour, a 21-inch. I doubt 21-inch, you're going to be walking 5 miles an hour all day long. But average round of mowed per hour per 200 square feet. 36-inch walk behind, 4-inch overlap, 32-inch net width. Average speed, 1 mile an hour. Good stuff, guys, to help you figure out your cost on your estimates. Materials, easiest to determine, not just the cost of the material, but what about freight, storage, handling? Let's say you've got a big landscape job that you're going to do. It's got 100 trees on it. It's got 200 shrubs, 2,000 square feet of annuals. Yeah, you can count numbers on the plan, but how much is it going to get? How much are they going to charge you to get it shipped there? If you've got to store it, if you've got to unload it when it comes to your shop and then load it onto your equipment, it's not just the cost of the materials, it's the cost of getting the materials to your shop or to the job site. Another little chart here from your book, your project costs, labor costs, materials costs, equipment costs, fixed cost overhead. When you run your own business, you should know how much it costs you to run your business every time you turn the lights on every Monday morning until the time you go home on Monday night. You should know exactly what it costs you per hour to run your business, your fixed overhead cost. Now, your unassignable overhead, which is going to be stuff that's, you should know you're unassignable. Straight up, that's what I meant to say. You should know you're unassignable right off the bat. That's your secretary answering the phone. That's your office manager. That's your project managers. That's not actually billed to a job. It's just unassignable. It's your overhead. Fixed or assignable overhead is going to be stuff that is directly to the job site, which would be like, your porta-john, if you have to have one there, the plants that you're hiring or buying for that job, subcontractors that you're hiring for that job. All of that is part of your assignable. Labor cost, what is your employer share? What is your share of Social Security? Now, remember, whatever you take out of your employee's check, which is determined by the government, you've got to double it and pay it, match it. Federal unemployment insurance, in case you lay some of your employees off, they can draw unemployment. Both federal and state. Workers' compensation, that protects the workers if they get hurt on the job. You have to have it if you have 2 or more employees in North Carolina. And then fringe benefits. What if you're offering health care, dental, eye insurance, some type of 401k? You're going to have to actually get good people working for you. Labor cost estimating worksheet, direct wage cost. So good worksheet to help you with your labor. Productive hours do not include breaks, weather-related downtime, training, or any other non-productive time. This is your worksheet for calculating equipment operation costs. The cost per hour for any machine or vehicle can be determined by adding its fixed and variable cost and dividing by the estimated use over its life. Estimated cost of repairs, operation, and life can be obtained from past records. You've got to keep good records or the manufacturer's literatures. So look at that. Purchase price, salvage, that's 10% or you trade in. Non-recoverable price, 1 minus 2. That's number 1 minus 2. Finance or opportunity cost, insurance, taxes, and license. Your fuel, oil, estimated repairs, tires, all variable costs there, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Estimated use per year, how many hours, how many miles you're going to run it. Estimated life, how long are you going to keep it. Total use hour of the machine is the 10 times the 11 mark right here. And then cost per hour or unit of use. You need to know what it is that it costs you to run that mower, that tractor, that skid steer, or whatever it is that you're using. So your direct project costs, your overhead, ownership costs, operating costs, should everything be included in your equipment costs? Yes. What is it to the project? What is your overhead? What is your overhead of owning that piece of equipment? What is your operating cost of owning that equipment? A lot of these things take fuel. And now that fuel's going up, look what fuel's doing. All of a sudden, we've got new leadership in the White House. And that happens no matter what side of the fence you're on. Things change. And fuel is one of the things that's changed for us now because they've shut down pipelines. Now, if they open that back up, we may start seeing fuel go down. But every summer we see fuel go up. Why? Because people go on vacations. When the summer's over and kids go back to school and stuff, you start seeing a little decrease in fuel. It happens all the time. Fuel is a variable cost that it's hard to predict. We just know that it's going to go up and that it's going to go down. Subcontractors, if you're hiring these individuals to work for you, they have to have their own insurance. Make sure they have their own license. When do they need to be paid? Most of them are going to knock on the door and be like, Eric, I need to get paid. It's Friday afternoon. The wife wants to go to the beach. I don't want to hear that. You just started the job this morning and you're wanting 50% down on a month-long job? I don't think so. Are they reliable? And a lot of subcontractors aren't reliable. And I don't mean to talk trash, but I'm doing a little bit of trash talking. They think they're entrepreneurs. And when they give you a business card that says that they're fully insured and licensed, that means they've got a driver's license and they have vehicle insurance. You ask them, hey, do you got workers' comp? Man, Eric, I ain't got but one employee. I don't need it. Well, you got to have it to work for me. This job site requires that you have it. The state may say that you don't need it, but the owner of this job site says that you do. Well, I can't, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I mean, come on. A ghost policy, workers' comp, general liability is going to cost you about $400 a year each. So $800 and you're screaming. And that means that you can get these larger contracts. Why would you not pay it? Why would you not pay it and have it? But most of them don't. I'm running into that personally right now in our landscape business. We're hiring out some parking lot sweeping, and the guy doesn't have workers' comp. He's got liability on the truck that he sweeps with. And he says, Eric, I'll pay that guy under the table that works for me. Uncle Sam don't even know that he works for me. What the heck, man? It's bull crap. And then I'm having to take out money from his check to pay the workers' comp because I'm not going to get charged it. And then he gets upset. Well, I don't have to have it. Well, this job site says that you do. The owner requires it. That's $400 a year. $400 a year, and you claim to be an entrepreneur? I mean, come on. Overhead. Here's table 4.11. Your overhead categories. Overhead reflects business expenses incurred, whether or not the firm receives any work or income. Overhead is comprised of many and sometimes forgotten, but very important costs. The following illustrates some typical overhead expenses associated with landscape management. Your facilities, your office expense, contracted services, administrative management expenses, tools, equipment, and vehicle cost. This is stuff that you've got to have no matter what, no matter if somebody hires you or not. And then table 4.13, pricing pointers from successful landscape contractor. Avoid being liable and remembered for a landscape that is destined to fail even with your expertise and hard work. If it ain't going to work, walk away from it. Establish exactly what the customer is seeking. Can they afford it? Because time is money and money is time. Accuracy and details are everything. Accurate measurements are important to the client and to you, the contractor. Trying to be an expert in too many business sectors will compromise quality and whittle away valuable time. Do not raise prices across the board. Raise some fees to meet profit and cost recovery goals, and just say no to unprofitable jobs, regardless of how tempting. Miracles will not happen. Oh, if I get this job, it's going to set me over the top. But if you're thinking, I really don't understand it, don't do it. Underestimating or underpricing leads to failure to deliver the promised services at the customer's level expectation. What you need to do is under promise and over deliver. If you can do that, you will be very, very successful. Under promise and over deliver. Track the cost of every job. Track and recover travel time. Develop a professional presentation of all your quotes and estimates. And the reason low ballers pitch rock bottom price is the same reason that some novice contractors underestimate prices: lack of knowledge. But that's why you're here at Forsyth Tech Horticulture, to learn how to do this. Man, you can see that it's hit a nerve with me when it comes to pricing some of these jobs. But anyway, guys, thank you. This has been chapter 4 out of your professional landscape management textbook. Thank you, and I will see you in the next lecture.